Welcome back to the Traders Network show, broadcasting worldwide from Davos, Switzerland. I'm Matt Bird. We're here at the 2020 World Economic Forum. My next guest is Dirk Ahlborn, the chairman of Hyperloop. Dirk, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
So Dirk, there's a lot of stuff in the news today. You've got a project in Missouri. You've got some other things going on in the southern parts of the U.S. You've just had some recent news come out. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with Hyperloop.
Well, we're in it's a really exciting times when it comes to mobility. We have been around now for a little bit over 6 years, so of course we have a lot of different projects. You hear a lot about Hyperloop. It's also part of how we're doing it through a community, right? So getting, it's a movement, really, that's what it had become. And you have efforts in the US, you have efforts in Europe, you have efforts in the Middle East. For us, mainly right now, we're finalizing the integration of the system in our R&D center in Toulouse. We have our first commercial agreement in Abu Dhabi. And as you just mentioned, we announced just a couple of weeks ago the finishing of the first interstate independent feasibility study that was done in the US. So it's a study that has been done between Cleveland, Chicago, and Cleveland and Pittsburgh, together with over 80 stakeholders, completely independent, and the results are just amazing. Basically, they're confirming everything that we have said so far. I mean, so of course we knew, but having it from a third party and someone who's in this business and doing feasibility studies for high-speed train projects, confirming what we have always said is great, right?
You threw up a few numbers earlier when we were talking a little bit offline. And from an economic development standpoint, a development project like the Hyperloop must be staggering for the local economy. Why are we going to see some more progressive movement in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, of course, now that we have the results, and as we talked earlier, the results are really amazing. We're talking about roughly 900,000 new jobs that are not directly related to the system or the construction of the system. So it has a huge impact on the corridor. And you have income increase around 40%. You have property value increase. Obviously, with that come additional tax income. So the government is happy about that as well. But most importantly, it really confirms that the system makes economic sense, and that's what I want to say the big news, right? Because there's no train line in the whole world that makes economic sense.
Right.
The Hyperloop, because we have very low operational costs, can be built. Your investors, so private investors can build it and can get their money back, and then you can actually generate income, and that changes infrastructure completely. I mean, in the US, as you know, we don't have the best infrastructure, right? So infrastructure is lacking. You need to maintain it, and it's partially because it's very, very expensive to maintain it. And so the Hyperloop, if you want so, is a completely new class of infrastructure.
Well, it's definitely an evolution of technology on all levels. And I mean, we have a very brick and mortar infrastructure in the U.S. It's been around for quite some time, and it's served its purpose, but it's now time for obviously something new and more efficient. What's next for Hyperloop?
So, as I mentioned earlier, we're finishing our integration in Toulouse. We already have agreements for the first commercial line in the Emirates in Abu Dhabi. The big hurdle to overcome is regulation. So we have been working a lot with regulators around the world. We presented the safety guidelines that we did together with TÜV Süd to the DOT in Washington. We're working in Europe with the European Council on creating the regulatory framework. And we have been even working with Munich Re, the largest reinsurance company in the world, and to be able to insure the system, which is a very important step when it comes to commercialization. So now that all of these things, all of these steps have been done, we just need to continue working. We're looking forward to moving the first people inside the Hyperloop. Yeah. We're looking forward to start construction in Abu Dhabi. So 2020 is going to be a big year.
Wow, 2020 in Abu Dhabi. What can people do to advocate for the Hyperloop? I know there's a big movement online right now. There's a lot of people, advocating for it to come to local areas. What can people do if they wanted to come to their area? What do they do?
So we have a very unique model as a company by itself, which, by the way, is a Harvard case study. So we have over 800 people and over 50 companies that are working together with us and are working in exchange for a participation in the company, for stock options. So that's really what makes it a movement. And So obviously, if someone has ideas about new technologies and how we can make the product better, and I'm not just talking about the capsule that moves inside the tube, but we have a unique opportunity to build a transportation system the way it should be done in 2020. We're always open to hear, new ideas, new inputs. So then, of course, on a political level, support is always welcome. But I must say that actually, all the politicians worldwide that we're talking with are very supportive. There's a need. They know that they need to do something. We're solving a problem, right? If we could put that money that right now we're using to support rails around the world into education or into healthcare, right? Then it would be already a better world. So, in general, just let's. We just need to look forward to it and be positive and try to, accelerate a little bit the bureaucracy. That's really what takes a little bit longer.
So I know you're really busy, man, and you need to get going. Be our eyes and ears for a minute. You've been up and down the strip. You're here every year. I tried to run you down last year, and we just missed each other. Tell us about what are some of your big takeaways from this WEF?
Well, it's. I think it's clear that more and more the big guys, if you want, so are realizing that we need to change,
Yes.
and so sustainability is a big issue. Supporting things, change in general. I think that taking away that fear of change is what they're really trying to do here, and it's not always easy, right? Because we all are wary of change. We like it the way that things have been going, but
and I'd say I think you really nailed it. It doesn't matter how smart or sophisticated the solution is. Change is still change, and people resist it at times. And education is education.
yeah, small or big, it doesn't really matter,
It doesn't.
right?
Well, listen, Dirk, thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Dirk, chairman of Hyperloop.